Okay, good morning. I'm Dr. Rutledge, and we're having clinic this morning here in Las Vegas. I have recovered. I've just gotten back from Europe, where purely for work purposes, I had to go to Paris.
He was a rock star there.
And Salzburg, Austria.
Wow.
And so I'm going to report on some of that. This particular video, we're going to talk about the expert meeting for obesity surgery that was held in Saalfelden, Austria. Had about 100 specialists from around the world who are surgeons in obesity or bariatric surgery. And they talked about all the latest surgery, gave us some updates on the latest types of surgery and their results, and in particular had a half-day session on the mini gastric bypass, which is the first time that the mini gastric bypass has really been part of a half-day session of an international meeting like that. So it was a big step forward, we thought, for us. A lot of things to say. One of the things is that there's a lot of, I would say, and I'm biased, a lot of bad news coming out about the other forms of surgery. So lap band, which was very popular in Europe 10 years ago, is really losing popularity in Europe right now. Come on in, have a seat. Yeah, there's plenty of seats. That's okay.
There's a bunch of us.
Oh, that's okay. We got a bunch of seats. So the lap band in Europe very much losing ground. The Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, kind of still the standard in a lot of places, was eclipsed in Europe by the lap band, and now they had several presentations on the complications, the long-term failure rate up to 40%. Attempts at revision of the Roux-en-Y have high complications and problems. So the news from the Roux-en-Y wasn't so good. And then the hot new surgery is something called the sleeve gastrectomy, where they make a stomach pouch a lot like ours, but is different in that it leaves the muscle at the bottom of the stomach called the pylorus. And the data from there is showing up to 45 to 50% of people who have this sleeve are suffering really severe reflux after 5 years, and many of those patients are going to have to be revised, and the numbers for the sleeve failure could be quite high. So if you look at the landscape of weight loss surgery, the take-home message from that expert meeting is a lot of the other surgical options are having major problems and losing popularity. Kind of like the little boy who only knows one note. For 14 years, I've been going to these meetings saying, "Here am I, Lord, send me. You know, I have a good surgery for you." And the answer for 14 years has been, no. So at this point, we actually had a discussion, and so we had one of the critics of the MGB speak up, and his criticism this time was very, very mild. He said, you know, there have only been a limited number of surgeons doing it. Dr. Rutledge has only been doing it for 14 years and only done 6,000 patients. And he goes, well, that is a pretty good number. And now there are dozens of other surgeons, including some people I'll talk about, who are doing it, reporting the same good results. So he says it's gaining ground, gaining interest by other surgeons, but he's still a proponent. He's a surgeon in San Diego. He still favors the Roux-en-Y. So then I got up and gave a talk. I talked about one of the things that people fear about the MGB, which they talk about the risk of gastric cancer. And I pointed out gastric cancer is a very uncommon cancer. The rate of gastric cancer is going down. A bigger impact is probably eating hot dogs because of their nitrate than any association with any kind of surgery. And so that presentation was completed. About 100 to 150 people in clinic, and we had electronic voting. So prior to my presentation and a group discussion, we asked the audience how many people kind of are interested in, favor, would like to look into, or would offer the MGB. And prior to, we had a really positive number. We had almost 50% of doctors there are interested or offering the MGB. So that's exciting. After our presentations and our talk, though, 79% of patients, 79% of the surgeons there want to learn more about or offer the MGB. So that's a pretty good number, and it's something that we're seeing across not just the United States now, but around the world. So after we finished that expert meeting, the president of our international group, it's called the IFSO, that's the International Federation for Surgeons of Obesity, is a Dr. Miller in Austria, and he invited me to his hospital the next day, and we operated with him, and we taught him how to do the MGB. So he did the first 2 MGBs in his practice, and at the end of that practice, he and I are going to put on our website a referral link, because if you want to have an MGB in Austria, we have a new surgeon for you. So we're excited about that. And he is a Roux-en-Y surgeon, a lap band surgeon, a sleeve surgeon, and it was interesting to hear the president of the IFSO said, I think the MGB is the best surgery available right now. So that's cool. So I finished all that hard work in Austria. We did do a little sightseeing and had some strudel. Then we had to go to Paris for more work. In Paris, we met with the president of the French Society of Surgery of Obesity, and we operated with him. And in his case, as a visiting professor, I actually scrubbed in and did 2 cases with him and showed him how to do it. He's already done over 1,000, and he picked up, he thought, some tips and pointers. And by talking to the reps who offer the surgical equipment, right now about 20% of all the weight loss surgery in France is being done with the MGB. So it's got a lot of penetration there. And we had about 5 visiting surgeons who watched the surgery. They're offering the MGB in Paris, and there are other surgeons around the country offering it. And again, many of those surgeons said they felt the MGB was by far the best option for patients. So it's exciting to see that. And next year I'm invited to go back to France to give a talk at the French Society meetings. So that'll be exciting, purely for work purposes. The next day, I went to operate with a private surgeon who's also done over 1,000 MGBs. About half of his patients are failed lap bands. And his associate, Dr. Katie, is the surgeon, and Dr. Sheesh is his associate. I operated with both of them. I scrubbed in as a visiting professor and did 2 cases with them as well. Took out a lap band and did a real heavy person, showed him again some tricks and traps. And again, we're invited back in September, and we may be operating and having a seminar with him and some other surgeons in France. So long story short, the MGB was done for the first time 14 years ago in September of 1997. And the United States surgeons have been relatively critical and have not adopted it. But around the world, throughout Europe now, throughout the areas of India, the Middle East, and Asia, a lot of other surgeons are adopting the MGB, have done up to 1,000 or more MGBs, and are reporting excellent results. So we're very excited about that, and we'll keep you informed as we do some more of these trips and give you the research, and we should start seeing more of this. Now, the final big important thing is all of you who are having surgery today, you might want to consider postponing it, because all this means that there's a possibility, in fact, I would say a probability, that when enough surgeons around the world do it, it will come to the United States. The United States surgeons will adopt it, and then we'll get insurance coverage. And right now, we're predicting that's about 2 years away. We still, in the United States now, are seeing some insurance coverage, and but for a lot of our patients who can't afford to do the surgery, it's exciting to look forward to the future where we think there's an opportunity to potentially offer this to a much broader group of people. And that's, if that happens in 2 years, that means it's taken 7 or 16 years, but it'll be an exciting day.